everyone, I'm Cypris. Like Susan just said, I'm a PhD student in classics. Last summer I interned at the Santa Barbara Trust for Historic Preservation. Better? Okay. While working there, I contributed to the public interpretation of this town's layered histories, including archival research, visitor experience, and community engagement. During my internship, I worked on a number of public-facing projects. I helped advertise for and run community events like the Asian American Film Festival, where I saw firsthand how culturally responsive programming can spark meaningful conversations. At the Visitor Center, I opened and closed the sites, I welcomed guests, I helped with admissions and merchandise. These daily interactions, working with the people living and visiting Santa Barbara, taught me how important it is to meet people face-to-face when talking about local history. Probably the most fun part of my summer was when I co-led an archaeology summer camp group for 3rd and 4th graders. Just by sharing my love of ancient objects, the kids lit up in excitement, and even one girl said she wanted to grow up to become an archaeologist someday. I also gained hand-on experience doing public-facing research. Working with Shannon Taribo, another alum of this project, on the oral history project Monongs on the Central Coast. I helped edit and index the oral history recordings, and I supported the opening event. This museum exhibit documents the lives of first-generation Filipino-American men and their families, and it is currently on exhibit at Casa de la Guerra. Working with these community members and their families taught me not just to hear what's being said, but to listen to how it's being said, the tone, the emotions, the memories, and how that changes details, who remembers what, and who is on different sides of the same story. That kind of listening is crucial for preserving public history with clarity and care. By reading and discussing the history and ethics of public humanities in the IHC's courses, I thought more critically about who has access, what one's audience is, and the multiple narratives of history. One of the most important takeaways for me was the idea that work in the public humanities changes the questions that we ask. I learned that public humanities should encourage both individuals and communities to critically reflect upon and question their own history and values. This ensures that everyone becomes more aware of social issues and therefore more empowered to participate in public activism. At the Presidio, I picked up a bunch of new technical skills, like using the Library of Congress's filing system and the metadata database of the Presidio Research Library. One of the most important aspects of this internship was working with the subject files in that library. These vertical files are organized by topic, places, people, cultural groups, and they're often the first stop for researchers who want to learn more about local Santa Barbara history. I helped organize, label, and sort these materials. This gave me a better sense of how information gets categorized and how these decisions shape what people are able to find. I sharpened my professional skills by coordinating with staff across departments and getting trained on how to give tours that communicate historical complexity to all different types of people. I also became familiar with managing admissions, merchandise, and visitor flow using point-of-sale systems. Working across departments and learning to collaborate with different teams definitely helped me grow professionally. And working directly with the public, young people and their families, helped me become a better communicator. One challenge that really stuck with me when working with the Trust and the local downtown library was during the Wikiathon event series. I learned about local legend Ida Addis, a 19th century Mexican-American poet and news writer who was locally and nationally praised. One day, she suddenly disappeared under suspicious circumstances, and considering the Stork family and the Santa Barbara news press. As a scholar and a grad student, most of my research is isolating. It's me and my books alone in an office or a library. I wasn't used to relying on others with more experience and knowledge than I could get by myself. I wasn't accustomed to this specific type of collaborative information production. My methods weren't working, so I had to switch gears. I enlisted help from the other community members taking part in the Wikiathon. I heard their advice for how to sensibly represent Ida's life and her influence on the Santa Barbara community from Santa Barbara locals. These community experts taught me the ins and outs of Wikipedia's editing protocols. Alongside the other Wikiathon members, I'm still working to update her Wikipedia page, aiming to make it less biased and more comprehensive of her influence. This makes me think about how we responsibly talk about historical figures, especially stories that involve trauma, gender, and power, and how we can do that respectfully. This program has shown me that public engagement can inform and also inspire academic work. I'm thinking differently now about how to bring my engagement, my public engagement, into the classroom and how to bring my own work back into the community. To incorporate this into my undergrad teaching, I focus on engaging students with real-world content and practical applications of their learnings. I invite students to question assumptions, to analyze information, and to critique sources. Looking ahead, I'm interested in a job at a museum or a library or an archive. I will likely apply to careers focused on visitor experience, educational or cultural programming, and outreach coordination. But wherever I end up, I want to keep working with community partners to make historical knowledge public and empowering. Public humanities initiatives are important because they amplify marginal voices, they challenge dominant narratives, and they promote critical thinking. By highlighting underrepresented perspectives and fostering dialogue between all kinds of peoples, public humanities can contribute to a more just and equitable society. But what does public humanities really mean? For me, it means listening to and learning from one another. By sharing knowledge, we can promote a better collective understanding and an appreciation of diversity. This collaboration strengthens the bonds between people and helps them feel like they belong. I consider myself a public humanist, whether I'm working with ancient texts, Wikipedia, 20th century newspapers, or teaching kids fun facts about history. To me, the value of the public humanities lies in its ability to build bridges, not just between the ancient and the modern, but between people, between academic research and community knowledge. It's about honoring the many different ways that people understand and connect with history. What drives me is the desire to make knowledge accessible, meaningful, and inclusive, and to keep learning from that community, the one that I'm proud to be a part of. Thank you.